Hello and welcome to my Instapod. Today we're going to be kicking off my brand new mini-series of the Make Change Happen challenge. And this has been inspired by the fact that I do feel at the moment in particular that lots of people are just rushing out and buying the first viral digital marketing course that they can get their hands on. And sometimes it's not the right program for them. Sometimes it's just purely because other people are buying it and they feel that they need to get on board with that in order to start their business or start their passive income path. And actually, there are so many steps that you can take before you even get to that point that you don't have to pay for. It's not going to cost you anything, but it really is going to be vital to the process. Hello and welcome. After running 2 businesses myself, I can tell you from experience that creating a solid foundation right at the beginning to build your business upon is one of the most underrated and least talked about parts of the process, yet it's one that is going to affect your business the most, because if you don't have solid ground to build upon, it's going to affect the success of your business, it's going to affect the longevity of your business. And a lot of people start building on quicksand. They get really in front of themselves, they get really ahead of themselves, and they don't spend the time putting that foundation working at the beginning. And unfortunately, it does have a habit of coming back and catching up with you at a later date. So we definitely don't want that to happen to you. After running 2 businesses myself, I can tell you from experience that creating... So over the next 5 episodes, I'm going to be sharing a few of the things that I've learned along the way. For those who are maybe just starting out on their own passive income path, or maybe it's just something that you're considering at this stage as to whether it would be a right fit for you. Each episode, I'm going to be giving you a little mini challenge to do at the end, and you can go away and have a little think about that before you come back and listen to the next instalment. As always, I'm really happy to hear everybody's feedback, and if the Instapods have been helpful, if you want to DM me on Instagram and just, we can have a chat about the mini challenges and we can just talk it through and just give you that little bit of help or that little bit of support, I'm absolutely more than happy to do that. So over the next 5 episodes, I'm going to be sharing a few of the things that I've learned along the way. So I have been on my own passive income path for around 11 months now. I started off by putting together my own website. We also home educate. So initially, my thought process was to help other people with home education. And naturally, the question I always used to be asked was, how do you financially facilitate home education? So my initial market was going to be people who wanted to home educate. I soon found that I was getting inquiries from people who were not just interested in home education, but who were also interested in a passive income stream. So I decided to diversify a little bit. That's when I set up my dedicated social media channels for my passive income, and I also set up a stand store and started to list my products in there as well as on my website. So I have been on my own passive income path for around 11 months now. I really want to use my own experience now to help other people, not only to motivate them to move forward and try and achieve less dependency on other people and employment and achieve that luxury of more time, but also my path hasn't been perfect. I've made a lot of mistakes, and I have learnt the hard way that instead of moving forward, when you skip vital parts of the process, all you actually do is just continually put yourself on repeat, because you continually just have to continue to go back over things. So, to kick things off, let's talk about one of the most important things that everybody should be doing right at the beginning of your journey, because I genuinely believe it can have such a huge impact on the future success of your business. I really want to use my own experience now to Lots of people always talk about making changes, whether that's changes to our lifestyle, changes to our health, changes to our working life. We all talk about it and we all like the idea of doing something different. But there's a huge percentage of us that actually never even start. And if we do start, we don't see it through. And I know that because if I turn the clock back 2 or 3 years, this was me. And the reason that many of us don't actually keep moving forward is because we don't identify the valid reason why we want to make this change in the first place. So if you think back to how many times you've said that you're going to do something and then you don't do it, it's probably because there wasn't a strong enough focus to motivate you to start moving forward or to continually keep you moving forward. Lots of people always talk about making changes. The first step to making any change at all, regardless of what that change is that we need to identify the why. So why we want to change, what difference that's going to make to us, what difference it's going to make to our lives, what impact it could possibly have on our future. And we really need to get that clear in our minds, because that's what's going to provide the motivation and the purpose and the determination on the days where you just don't want to show up, because we all get those days. But knowing your why can give you a real clear sense of purpose and motivation for exactly why you're doing this. And it's that can actually keep you moving forward. The first step to making any change at all, regardless of what that change is that we need to identify the why. So why we want to change, what difference that's going to make. When you understand those underlying reasons behind why you're making that change, you're much more likely to stay committed and you're going to persevere a lot more through those challenges and any setbacks that come your way, because your why is going to act as a driving force, and it's your why that's going to keep you focused and determined to achieve your goals or your objectives, even on the really difficult days. And if you think back to an example now of maybe when you started something on a bit of a whim, just because you maybe saw it on the TV or because somebody else was doing it, chances are that it didn't last long. There was no longevity in it. You didn't really have a plan. You didn't really have a focus. And it probably just fizzled out, never ever to return again. And that really highlights why it's so important that we have that focus right from the start. When you understand those underlying reasons behind, and as bizarrely as it sounds, it's actually our why that helps us create that genuine connection with other people. So when you start moving forward in your business and you start building your own community by sharing your personal why with other people, it not only creates a real sense of honesty and connection, but they can also resonate with you. So if they've been through a similar thing, or if they've experienced something similar to you, maybe their background has been the same, maybe you've overcome the same obstacles, and it acts as a really powerful tool for building that trust with other people, because if they relate with you and they connect with you, they're probably going to share your values and they're going to share your vision for how their future can look and how you can help them get there and achieve that. And as bizarrely as it sounds, it's actually our why that helps us create that. That said, your mini challenge for this episode is going to be to identify your very own why. So what do you want to achieve by making these changes? What's motivated you? What's been the catalyst behind forcing you to reevaluate and look at making these changes? What do you want your future to look like? This process can be really different for everybody. So it can include thinking about, how your future is going to look if you don't make this change. What are the positives and negatives of standing still and how that makes you feel. I have referred back to my own personal why so many times in the last few years. And it genuinely is what keeps me really focused, and what motivates me to just show up every single day, regardless of how things are going or how I'm feeling. That said, your mini challenge for this episode is going to be to identify. You may want to write it in a journal, you may want to write it on your business plan, you may want to stick it inside a cupboard that you go into every single day just as a constant reminder. But I promise you that you will refer back to it, and it will be a really powerful tool in moving forward with your business and helping you to just keep in that right mindset. So thank you so much for listening today. As always, I would love to hear your thoughts and your suggestions. Please don't forget to tune in for the next episode. This is a mini series of 5. And you can also catch up on my YouTube channel, and I will save my Instapods to my highlights. So for this episode, that is me signing off to say thank you very much, and I will see you the next time. You may want to write it in a journal, you may want to write it on your business plan, you may want to stick it inside a